welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, no Sonic space. Oh, hey.
Hello.
What's going on?
Not a lot. I was just getting my stuff set up, and then surprise, here it is. So,
Adieu.
yeah.
Question for you.
Okay.
On your Zoom window in the upper left-hand corner where it says recording.
Yes.
Is there something that says original sound next to it?
No.
No. Ooh, okay. That's fine.
I don't. Oh, wait. What's this? No, I have a little thing that says meeting information, and then that I'm using enhanced encryption. Dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Okay, let's try. Go down to the microphone, the lower left. Click on that the chevron, the caret chevron thing. Go to audio settings.
Okay. So I have select a microphone and select a speaker.
Down at the very bottom.
Oh, audio settings. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Ooh, look, audio settings.
Yes. And then go down and click advanced. Do you have an advanced button at the lower right-hand corner?
Oh, yes. I was looking at the top left.
Okay.
And all these things that I'd never noticed before.
I know.
Statistic keyboard shortcuts for what?
Yeah. So the one that I like to use is when you mute yourself, as long as you stay in the Zoom meeting window, if you push and hold the space bar, it'll unmute you, and then you can let go, and it'll...
Oh, I see that now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I always my microphone has a button for that.
Oh.
So I just do that.
The problem with me is that since I type and I'm looking at a bunch of other stuff, like I can't do that.
Oh, yes, that's fair. That's fair.
I tried to do that last recording, and I was saying these things, and I was like, they just keep talking over me. What in the world? Oh, I have to... Oops, in just a minute.
Now you know how Aaron feels all the time.
All the time. Okay.
I did. There was a few times where I was talking last week at pause and like nobody said anything. I was like, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I was...
All right. Anyway, advanced.
So try and look and see, does the show in meeting option to enable original sound from microphone, is that, can you check that? Is that checkable?
It is now checked.
Okay. So, and then
everything else is on. It's all auto.
Okay.
Suppress, noise, echo cancellation.
And again, I don't know if this is going to make a lick of difference because this is not recording local on your machine.
Yeah.
I have echo cancellation on auto.
Yeah, so do I.
And then I have suppress intermittent background noise and suppress persistent background noise on disabled.
Oh, mine's just on auto also.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So if you jump back, if you X out of that, you jump back into the Zoom window, upper left, click turn on original sound. And then you can select where you want that sound to be coming from.
Oh, now it says turn off original sound.
Yeah, that's fine. And then click on the little drop down arrow to the right of it, and then click your microphone.
Oh, so I need to click my microphone?
Yes.
Microphone, Yeti stereo microphone, that one?
Yes. Yeah. Apparently that's supposed to increase sound quality. I don't know. I really can't tell the difference, but I think there's so much compression with Zoom anyway.
I was going to say, it probably doesn't matter.
Oh, no, you changed.
I did?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
That's trippy.
I sound the same to myself, so I'll take your word for it.
Hey, Aaron.
Hello.
Welcome. Hey, question. I have some instructions. I have some instructions for you.
We need to edit this part out because this is boring as heck.
Yeah. Are you on your phone?
Yes.
Okay, never mind then. Forget all of this. Okay.
I mean, oh no.
Because I don't think you can do that on your phone.
Probably not.
What are we supposed to be doing? What are
Collin's making me change my microphone settings to see if my sound quality. He doesn't like my sound quality, apparently.
No. It's something that I always had checked on mine. I've had it, but I was like, well, I don't know if if you guys would have that, or not, and then if I could detect a difference. So anyway, cool. Tech support over.
We'll see.
What's going on?
Many things. I don't know. What about you?
Let me tell you about this really cool technology that I found that I appreciate very much to help with my ADHD whatever stuff. While I work, I have started to play with Play-Doh, and
have you?
It is amazing. It is wonderful. Just break out some Play-Doh because I have 2 children, so I have a lot of Play-Doh.
Also have lots of Play-Doh around.
Yeah, lots of Play-Doh. And I'm like, as I'm working, I'm just playing with it, just mushing it in the ball, rolling it into little shapes. And man, let me tell you what, this is amazing. It's wonderful.
Well, there you go. That is a thing, right? The fidgeting thing. If you can occupy that tendency, your brain can focus on other stuff. There are things about that.
Yeah, and
the problem is finding something that's not just obnoxiously loud, right?
Because typically it's a pen or like a pencil sharpener. Yes. I'll sit there and kind of obsessively sharpen a pencil over and over and over. So when I was like, you know what? I attended this meeting a long time ago where the lady handed out containers of Play-Doh and colorful pipe cleaners, and she just put them on the desk, and I just had a sudden flash to that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this will help me so much.
The problem I have with that was the last one of the meetings, our meeting days at school that we had, right? There was Play-Doh involved for some reason. I can't really remember why or what we did with it. Because I spent the whole time making platonic solids out of the Play-Doh. So I made tetrahedrons, and I made all these different sided figures, 6-sided polygons, 10-sided polygons, 4-sided. I spent a lot of time doing that. And I think I zoned out there for a little bit. I was so focused on my 12-sided polygon that I was like, wait, what are we talking about?
Sure.
Well, because I actually have, and that's if you hear the rustling in the background, I actually have a fidget cube that I purchased on Amazon. And I would sit there at work and just I don't know if you can hear that, but
I can hear. That's the problem. They click. They're so clicky.
And so there are some ones that are less clicky, but I bought it not thinking about it, and then I would take it to work in the office and just be like, oh, click, click, click away. That's a lot louder than I thought it was, especially in a relatively quiet office.
Yeah.
But it's got, I'll send a picture here in a second, but it's got a doodad over here. It's got a little rolly thing. It's got a little joystick.
Yeah, I've seen those before.
And I saw other ones that are more round and smooth. I've seen the, what are they called? The rub stones, the smooth stones. And it's kind of got that feel to it in some places that you just sit there and just rub. And I would sit there.
I've also heard them called worry stones.
Oh yeah,
right?
Okay.
Yes, I had these.
I was gonna say, I think I had one. I never used it. I just had it. It's one of those things that somebody gave me, and I'm just okay, cool. And then I just had it. I've also seen that. Have you seen the little plastic things that go on the top of your pencil? And they're one of them's a nut and a bolt, and you just kind of roll it up and down. It's like a thing there, and there's all kinds of different little thingies. I've seen those before too.
Yeah,
that you're supposed to put on top. For kids. They're very brightly colored. And you stick them on top there, and they can just mess around with them. I saw those.
It's good to know. It's good to know that I'm not alone in my fidgeting and that.
No, I do it. I usually do it with some sort of like pen or whatever is nearby. This is why at work I have a yardstick, a meter stick. Okay, sorry, it's a meter stick.
Jeez, man.
I have that, and I'll just like carry it around sometimes. And the kids are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" Stop it! Like I just like I carry it around and I'll like play with it while I'm doing lectures or while they're working, and I'm walking around checking on all the work and stuff. I just sort of have it around for a similar purpose. Plus, it's easier to turn the projector on and off with that thing because it's mounted on the ceiling, so you can just go click. But I mean, I can reach it, but sometimes there's a desk underneath it, and I don't want to fall on any children. So like, I just
you don't want to have to write that in a report.
Yeah, fell on student. Yeah, no thanks.
And child.
Yeah. So yes, you are not alone. This is a big problem. Not problem. It's just a thing that people do. Problem was the wrong word. I apologize. Because I do it. I usually do it with like a pen though, or because I just sort of roll it around in my fingers. I don't like.
I still have issues with paper straws or straw wrappers, like at like restaurants.
Oh, I do that. At this point, that's just the habit that I have,
and
it drives Megan insane.
That I do that.
No, that I do it.
Oh, I was gonna say I definitely do
I'll
it.
just be sitting there talking, and it's twisting, kind of like braiding it, rolling it over, making it smaller.
That's what I do.
Smaller. Mm-hmm. And just keep twisting, and she'll be like, "Just put it down." And I'm like, "I don't even know what you're." Oh, this is in my hands. Oh no, how did this get here?
No, at this point, it's just a thing that I do. Susan basically expects me to do it. It's I just have to.
What is it? The napkin and silverware rollers.
I do. I play with that too.
Whenever I worked at Eskimo Joe's, I would have like 4 or 5 of those like in my little pouch. So just if I was like bored, if I got like nervous or fidgety, I would sit there and like roll it up and sit there and play with it. And by the end of my shift, I'd look in my little weight bag. I was like, how did I get 12 of these?
Yeah, I do that. And at school, that's the thing I do too, because I'll like have something like a pen or something in my hand. And I'll just be like flipping around, not even really paying attention to it until it goes like clattering into something. I'm like,
yeah.
What was that? I don't know. It wasn't me. Or like if it just could be literally anything, like a piece of metal or like a rock. Like it doesn't really matter what it is, but I will drop it eventually, and so draw unwanted attention towards myself.
Sure.
Because I'll be doing it so absentmindedly that whatever it is will just go clattering to the floor. There's another reason I got one of those silicone wedding rings, because I would do it with my wedding ring sometimes. And Susan threatened to kill me. So like I did.
Hey, on that,
I stopped doing that.
How is yours holding up?
Well, if we're going to be completely honest, since I haven't really left the house in like months and months, I haven't even been wearing it. It's just sitting right here on this table right in front of me.
So it's holding up well.
It's holding up fine because there is no use. So we'll see if that continues.
See, very few people are willing to go that route of, if I just don't use it, it will never wear out.
It's right. I'm not holding my expectations very high, because the other ones broke just so fast.
Immediately.
So I'm really not. I'm going to either have to look for a different like style of one. Because I think part of the problem is this one's like single plied silicone rubber. You know, some of the other ones have like multiple bandings. I might have to get one of like an upgraded one or seek out a different company. Because I don't know. Right. I mean, having 2 break already. I mean, the fact that they just send you a new one, no questions asked, is nice. But it's also really annoying to have to do that, because you just got to, it's just the whole thing. I mean, it's really easy. You just take a picture, email them, it's broken. Yeah. And they're like, hey, here's a new one.
But what are they going to do with all their emails they need to send you?
I mean, that's true. I haven't got one in a long time. I think I unsubscribed from the emails, actually. I believe we talked about that. Because it was literally like every 5 seconds. I was like, no, I don't care. Stop.
Actually,
I'm afraid to go back on their website because I finally stopped seeing their dumb ads. So like I don't want to go back.
The system enough.
So I don't want my YouTube ads to show back up with that guy on there and being like, no. Like no, stop. I don't want that. I just want the thing. Actually, and then you don't need to show me commercials for a thing I already bought. Okay, stop it. Right. But we have a whole episode about that, so we won't talk about that too much more right now. But so yeah, just not wearing it sitting in front of me. So not being worn because I mean I'm sitting at home, so but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. But no, I'm definitely going to have to, whenever I'm back in my office, I'm going to have to stash some tubs of Play-Doh around because this is nice. So
there you go.
I found my.
You can make your own. You could, because that always turns out well, right?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
And it lasts so long.
So
it's good for like 5
long.
seconds, and it's like turns into plaster. Like, oh, I messed up.
Oops. Never mind. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not.
There you go.
That, so
all right, that's fair.
What's new with you guys?
I always start. So how about Aaron?
This week and last weekend was a bit of we were kind of all over the place. So I'm on call this week for all of Osage County. So anything that law enforcement or anything pops up, they go to me. And I'm not going to say anything more about the matter because I don't want to jinx it. But so last weekend, we kind of wanted to get out of Bartlesville, and we went up to the metropolis of Independence, Kansas, to which we hiked it was Elk City Lake, the Trail Mounds Trail hike thing, which was phenomenal. We hiked that, and then we went to the little homestead of the Little House on the Prairie, where Laura Ingalls Wilder had allegedly stayed at, which historians and people are like, well, we don't know like where, but here's a well that was dug from that time period, so we're going to say it might be around here. So they have a little
that's right. Shelby's a Laura Ingalls enthusiast, right?
Yes, she is quite the historian of Laura's Ingalls Wilder. And so we ran over there, and then the original plan was to
that's always a good start.
So
the original plan.
I didn't want to drive.
But what happened to Paul? Sorry, I was thinking about the show.
Him and his fiddle.
It's in the barn. No,
we didn't want to drive back to Bartlesville, and then drive back up the next day. So my brain was like, "Why don't we stay in a Coffeeville?" So we stayed in a hotel in Coffeeville.
Why? I was getting ready to say that same thing. Why would you do that?
No. Don't worry about it. So we stayed at a really nice hotel.
I am worried
which is only one.
I was going to say, isn't there only one? Coffeeville's like very not large.
Yes.
Okay.
So we stayed there, and then the original plan was we were going to go back up to Independence and go to the zoo that's up there, because coming from years of going to Neowalla, I have never seen like the actual town.
Is allegedly a zoo. Oh, you didn't just leave and go walking around town with your friends?
No.
Oh, me neither.
We never did that.
Who would do that? Who would do that? That's silly. That's irresponsible.
Was always there, and I always had to stay around, and so I had never like seen the town.
There's always like 6 hours between the parade and the field show. I was out. It's like, I'm going to buy some ice cream. Bye.
And so because one year when I was up in Neowalla, like I actually walked through the zoo, like it was actually open. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to go back. But it was, it was just kind of hot. And I was like, well, it's not a very big zoo. And so we went instead to the Tulsa Drillers game down in Tulsa, and where I got my knees burnt. They were the only parts that weren't covered or sunscreened, and so I had nice little red knees from
rookie mistake. Forgot the knees.
It was really fun. And so we did that, and then that was Sunday, and then this week I've been on call, and I'll be off call Monday morning. So kind of laid low. Tonight we actually went to the it's a restaurant at the, what is that? Who designed that place? The restaurant we went to?
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
So it's very square.
Yes, very square.
Nice.
Designed this building in downtown Bartlesville, and there's a restaurant on top of it. And it's very fancy. It's very bougie place. And so we did that, and then we gallivanted around downtown Bartlesville, explored the sites, walked around, just kind of got out of the house and kind of, like I said, just explored. And it's like, oh wow, Frank Phillips built that. Like, oh wow, Frank Phillips built that too. And oh wow, Frank Phillips built that. Wowzers. So it was very, Frank Phillips themed, I guess you could say. And then we drove through downtown, which I drive through almost every day, kind of, to go to work, but I just never have time to really like appreciate the historical significance. But it was just kind of cool to go and walk around. And then I sent Collin some Snapchat videos of us being down there, and then we got ice cream, and then we hung out for a little bit, and I prepared. And we're watching baseball right now. I got fed up with not being able to watch baseball, so I subscribed to MLB TV, and it's a little annoying because I can't watch close games for some reason. Like the Kansas City Royals are playing right now, and according to the little live chat thing, it's like, oh, this year too far from the subscription. So I'm watching the Yankees in Boston for some reason, because reasons. But
probably because they draw more of an audience than the Royals. To be honest.
Now, if you had a VPN on your network, you could trick it.
What? What?
That's actually.
Why do you say that, Collin?
Huh? Who said that? Who said any of that? Anyway, I'm just drinking my coffee.
Hashtag not sponsored by VPN services.
No, but seriously, if you want to get the cool, if you want to get
Collin is,
if you have, so okay, here's another trick. If you're on Netflix and you go, I wonder what the Netflix is like in Japan.
Collin wants to watch some more British comedies.
You can flip your VPN to say that you're in Japan. Refresh your Netflix and watch to your heart's content.
Boom! All the anime you could ever want. Take that.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Well,
do you just as a hobby just like pick a random region and be like, "What's happening in Belarus?" Boom, go. And like,
well, it depends. It depends on if they have services there to make a real difference. And sometimes it's just.
True.
American Netflix or American whatever, like they just that's just what they have there because they don't have very
they don't have specialized
native or specialized TV programs. So it does. There are some where it's like, oh, this isn't exciting, but then you're like, oh, okay, cool.
That does kind of make would be kind of interesting because like I to be honest love the show Rick and Morty, and season 4 is not because reasons. And season 4 is not out on Hulu yet, but it's already like been shown in like European countries. I'm like, now hold on. I want to watch it. How can I watch it? And why is I not watching it?
There you go.
So I was also confused because for the longest time I didn't know what VPN was because our state system is called VPN.
Yep.
And so when people are like, dude, you want to get a VPN? I was like, why do I want something for the state? Like, that's dumb. And
no.
Like, oh, no.
It stands for Virtual Private Network. Is that right? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. I was making sure.
You can roll your own. You can set it up if you set up your own home server, it's nice because then you can always VPN back into your home network to access on-network files.
Well, that's true. I am definitely not that fancy.
Most people use it for private browsing. So anytime that you are, I have it set up on our devices so that anytime we log into a guest network or one that's not one that's already approved, it automatically connects to a VPN to spoof where we are.
Yeah. It's like another layer of security, especially with mobile stuff. So when you stay at a janky hotel in Coffeeville, Kansas, and you want to use the internet, but you don't want all of your information to be stolen because it's a terrible public internet. Yeah. It's a terrible public internet service. You can, or if you just want to go to, if you're at McDonald's, you're like, yo, I'm going to use the McDonald's Wi-Fi, but I don't want all my stuff stolen by that guy over there in the corner with the laptop. I'm going to
keep looking at me.
Yeah. With his hood up, looking like some dude from one of those movies where the government's definitely chasing him, right? Like that, that guy that's always in
looks
there.
like a scruffier Jason Bourne. You're like, oh no.
Yeah. So like,
he doesn't know how far he could run flat out at any altitude, but
he knows how many words per minute he can type.
Yeah,
and it's more than me. It's a lot more than me still, so it's fine. Yeah, I thought about that before, but like, I don't. It's just not within my needs currently. Something like that, right? Like,
sure.
Plus, my home internet's janky, as we've discussed before. Although there is a new company in town that's doing like fiber.
What?
So we might check into that. Maybe we'll have to see how much it costs, but
yeah,
we shall see, because that would be dope.
Yeah. Have you host all these meetings down?
Yeah. What's up? We'll have to get, I don't know if my computer could handle that, but the speeds would be better than negative sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Was that it, Aaron? Did you do anything else exciting? That was a lot of stuff. You've been an adventure boy.
Yeah.
Gallivanting.
It's
gallivanting through the rural fields of Kansas.
Oh, and by the way, there are waterfalls in Osage County around Pawhuska. I remember speaking of this several.
We did talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Shelby assured us they existed.
I included a link in our show notes.
I went and got my haircut today, and by the way, looking fly. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
The wonderful lady that cut my hair, besides talking about the three topics of hair, where's the Oklahoma Education Fund and where's that money going conspiracy? We talked about now, of course, I can't remember the name of what we're talking about. But there's something blue something that's around Pawhuska, and they're like, no, yeah, that's like a 15-foot waterfall. I was like, what?
Excuse you?
In Pawhuska, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, we literally went there this weekend. I was like, oh, I didn't.
The guffin, you say?
Now, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Hello.
Didn't you know that you shouldn't go chasing waterfalls? You should just stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to.
Nah.
That's what I've always heard. It's wise words from TLC.
I think we made the same joke the last time Aaron talked about the waterfalls around Osage
It's the only joke I have, okay?
Brandon, come on.
Sorry.
You get a tight 15 on waterfalls. Come on, you're letting us down here.
I think that's the only joke for waterfalls there is, but
might be the only one. That or something about a barrel. I don't really know.
Do a barrel roll.
It's the Star Fox joke that got me. Wow.
Who knew?
Surprisingly, one of the only games I have never played.
Brad had it, our neighbor. Remember our friendly neighbor? Back in the day, he had one.
Friendly. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, he had
neighbor.
Neighbor. He was our neighbor. He had it because I would go over there and play his. He had a Super Nintendo, I believe. So we would play that. I think Star Fox was on there. think it was there, or maybe somebody else. I don't remember. I played it somewhere. I never had it. Sega for life. Anyway, all my friends on my other neighbor had Sega. My other friend had Sega. I bought a Sega so we could swap games, man. That's what you gotta do.
There you go.
So I'm glad you found this waterfall, this elusive waterfall.
I'm sitting there trying to remember what it's called. So I'm like Googling blue.
This is why no one can find it. No one can remember its name.
Right.
It's mysterious.
Forgotten name waterfall.
The forgotten waterfall.
Blue Stem Falls. Boom.
Blue Stem Falls. There we go.
May have typed in waterfall around Pahuska ? And boom. Finding picture. Sending it to you all.
There we go.
Yeah, all right. Aaron for the win.
Nailed it.
I'll include another link in our show notes.
There we go.
Yay!
Perfect.
In case you were wondering, we also reference these waterfalls on our episode "Cool, That's Helpful" from back in March.
Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is apparently an actual, totally real, not made up place. Turns out, so it's good to go.
Bam.
Boom.
Screenshot sent. What'd it do?
There you go. Excellent.
I love how the article about them starts. You've probably never heard of this amazing waterfall.
You're right. You are absolutely correct.
That happens a lot in Oklahoma, so it's all right. Don't worry about it.
You've probably never heard of this.
But
I mean, let's be fair, that's most of Missouri as well, right? The only thing people know about Missouri is that Kansas City and St. Louis exist. Bass Pro is there somewhere, and Branson is a place. That's all we got.
Right.
They don't know anything else.
Aaron Tootin. So that's something else that we'll probably spend some time adventuring to.
Going back and forth, being like, "Oh yeah, the waterfall." Got it.
Oh. So there's a little place like that. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Is there like other? Is there like other stuff to do there? Can you like go hiking around it, or is it just like, yep,
yes,
there's a waterfall?
I can't confirm because I just heard about it like 4 hours ago.
That's fair, but because at like Roaring River, you can go down there. There's like the stream, but you can also go on the hikes and stuff. So I didn't know if there was like other things there, or even like out by Jolly Mill. I think you can go walking around a little bit over there, but not as much. But there's other things. So I don't know if you just went and like looked at it, or if you could like do other things.
So I think you can like
update coming soon. What do you do once you find the waterfall?
Yes, I'm putting it in.
Need
update.
That'll be my.
That'll be the. It doesn't have to be next week, but your homework is going to be to fill out the. So you found the waterfall. Now what? Like,
yeah, right. Get your traveler's guide ready.
Here you go.
So you found this little note, Jim, buried deep in the heart of Osage County. Well, what you might not know is that there's a whole lot more than meets the eye. Follow me. I'm ready.
Wow, someone's been watching too much Travel Channel this week.
I'm just ready for Aaron's Oklahoma travel guide series.
Oh man, am I ever ready for that?
I'm so ready.
That'd be great.
Yes, please.
Mini-series coming soon.
Have you ever
Shelby
seen
and Aaron?
Shelby and Aaron explore Oklahoma.
Have you ever seen that little video of like this kind of nerdy guy dressed up, and he's like, "Wow, I'm here talking about trees. Like, wow, this is a spruce because it is. Wow, that's neat." That's how I'm
wow, that's very 2009. First of all, thanks for that. That's what.
Throw it back, nerds.
Tell it is because it is
2009. The before times. That's what.
The before lots of times. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's true. That's before lots of times. That's what.
I was but a wee junior at the time.
Yowza.
I was a young pup, but now I am the master. What?
Sorry, I'm very confused about what TV show we're on right now.
They're in Star Wars. Keep up, Colin.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Are there waterfalls here too?
Yes, on Dagobah.
Waterfalls.
Yeah, Naboo and all the place, man. Yeah. Come on, everywhere.
Jeez, someone's triggered. Jeez. Aaron, lay off. You can't handle much more.
Brandon gets triggered about ads. I get triggered about waterfalls. Fight.
There we go. It's fair. We all have our own special thing. It's okay.
Brandon, how was your week?
It was all right. I didn't really do anything, but we also ate a new restaurant. So there's a new restaurant that opened up here in town. I don't know exactly when. I think it's been open for a little while. It's called like Jamie Lynn's Dining to Go or something like that. Jamie Lynn's is definitely in there. But I only bring it up because the business model is slightly intriguing, right? So they bought this, like, it was like a liquor store / service station thing. I don't even know what it was. It was just like a really janky building that nobody ever went in. And they turned it into like this restaurant, but there's no dining at all. It's only carry out because it's not very big. It's this little tiny building. So it's like kind of like a food truck almost, but instead of a truck, it's just a little tiny, it's like this little building. So they do all their orders online, I think. You might be able to call them, I don't really know. Basically, you just like go on their Facebook page and say, like, on Monday or Sunday night, I guess, she like posts the menu. Like, this is what we're making this week.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. And then you just sort of go, yep, I want 2 of those. And then she goes, okay. Boom.
Yeah.
It's really kind of, it's a very interesting little system they got going on there. We tried it this week. It's fine. I mean, it's very like Southern cooking stuff. We had some like chicken and the other day we had some meatloaf. I don't like meatloaf at all, but Susan and her mom do. So we had some meatloaf, It was fine, but like, it's pretty good. It's not my favorite style of cooking, but I just thought the concept was very interesting. That she would be like, this week it's this. Go. And then people just say, yep, I want the whole, for 2 or for 4 or whatever. And she just sets it up and you come and pick it up before they close at like 6:30 or whatever. And like,
yeah, that's really cool. I like that business model because it's she knows exactly how much she needs to prepare and it limits the amount of waste, hopefully.
And she can say, okay, well, this week is going to be this because I was able to get this at a good, got a good deal on this ingredient or whatever, or and so it's always it's neat that it's always changing. Right? It's kind of interesting that it's always something different, and it's just kind of whatever their chef special, right? Whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I guess she used to work at one of the restaurants in town before. So she's got a lot of restaurant experience. She worked somewhere else. I don't remember where. Yeah. Susan's mom said the other day. Oh, it was when the Black Kettle was open. There used to be a restaurant downtown called Black Kettle. It was like,
we ate there once.
I remember that.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, I think we did. So I think she was somehow affiliated with that. She worked there or was owner or something. I don't know. But
that's cool.
They closed that down and Go ahead. No, that was it. I said they closed that down. I guess she just started this up. So it was kind of interesting. It was neat, right? It's kind of cool. Again, I don't really love just like tons of Southern food, but it's good. Their potatoes were really good. So there's that. That's a bonus.
Yeah, that's unique too, right? That's cool.
It's something different, right? It's better than, it's way different than like, oh, let's get a pizza or whatever,
Yeah, there's a place out in Warrensburg called Cafe Blackadder, and that's what they do. They do something. They don't do a come by and pick it up. Like you can come to their they have a dine-in restaurant location where you can go and eat, but it is very much a like these are the things we found today, or these are what our suppliers from local farmers gave us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
or whatever. So I like that because it really keeps it's a hyper focus on the local economy, and it makes them. What I like about that is that if they try and they build those relationships with farmers or with suppliers, like it really builds that relationship too.
Yeah,
right. Maybe they want to do something, but they don't have access to it. Well, maybe somebody can start growing that for them, or they can source it, or whatever.
That's true.
I like those kind of relationships.
Yeah.
A lot.
So it's very interesting. I don't know how much of that's happening currently. We do have lots of farm stuff around here, so I don't know if any of that's happening, but
sure,
the potential is there. It's cool. She's only open during the week, right? It's like a Monday through Thursday thing. I don't know if they're open Friday or not. But that's another way she can really focus on all this stuff, because I think right now it's just 2 people doing the whole thing.
Wow.
So like they open for lunch and dinner, but again they close at like last pickup is something very early, much earlier than I normally eat dinner. So it's really like, what? It's like 6 or 6 or something like that. So they can probably do stuff for the next day, but yeah, it's just open lunch, dinner, flap. Like here's the menu, boom. So allegedly she's been very busy, which is cool. Again, it's new. The hyper focusing is really good, especially for lunches. I imagine a lot of people that work, because there's lots of businesses right around here that have, lots of stuff. So lots of people go on lunch break. So if you're like, hey, I can come by at 11:30 and get lunch, and boom, done. There it is. Don't have to worry about it. You just go in, pick it up, leave. Like that's probably really good for lunch. You know what I mean? Like when you have a limited time, you only have an hour or less. In some cases, I don't know, 45 minutes or whatever. So they can go and do that. So that's kind of cool. It was neat. I liked it. I just thought I thought the business model was interesting. Yep, post how many you want, and I'll just reply to you, and that means you will have an order. That's what like. That's kind of the check, right? She looks at it on social media and goes, "Got it," and she either like likes it or responds or some way. And that's how you know you will have food.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. And that, sure, that doesn't come across as, it's a very simple but easy system, and she doesn't need a whole lot right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, you just got to use what you got, right? And that's,
yeah.
I mean, if that's the way you're going to take orders and people just come in and do it and then leave, heck yeah, it's a pretty cool idea, really. So I was just like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. I just liked how they did that. Thought it was pretty cool. So, yeah, that's kind of the only real
that's neat.
Exciting thing that we did this week. Except for today is best day. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, is New Guitar Day. That's right. It's New Guitar Day. There you go. Picture coming at you soon. There you go. Sending right now. But it was New Guitar Day today. So.
Okay. I can't.
That happened.
Lots
there
of
you go.
questions.
Sent it. Okay, go. Question.
How long have you been looking at this one?
Quite a while, actually. Okay. I've been having this problem of where, even though I haven't played in a group for many months now, we haven't been able to get together and play, because of reasons. Like when you play in a band with another guitar player and a bass player and a keyboard player, like it's very hard to stand out in some way sonically on a sonic level.
Right.
So you kind of have to diversify what your sound is like.
Okay.
In some fashion, right? And the guitar that I've been using, it has these, like the pickups are on it. This electric guitar, obviously, the pickups are very they're very dark sounding. They're very full range, but they're very dark and kind of full sounding. But again, when you're playing with another guitar player and a bass player, all of those sound frequencies get lost.
Sure.
Very, very easily. All right. So I was looking for something a little bit brighter you know, because they're like, hey, you should play some lead guitar. I'm like, what? So that's been happening. So I got this to try to stand out a little bit. I just want something different. I want something a little more interesting. So we went with, listeners, a G&L Tribute Doheny model. This is based on a 60s Jazzmaster design. That's what it looks like.
Okay. So what was it about this sound that you liked?
So this model, the other one I was using has this humbucker pickups that doubled, like 2 single coil pickups stuck together to make it kind of cancel hum. That's what they're originally designed for. But they're very dark. So this one has those big wide space single coils, and they're a brighter sound, right?
Sure.
And it's like more attack, and they're brighter. They can be a little thinner, but that's not too bad if you can tweak your amp a little bit. But also the pickup design is different. This is this company, G&L, is actually was actually founded by Leo Fender after he left Fender guitars in the 60s.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So he sold Fender in like 65 or something. And then he went on and he started Music Man, actually. You've heard of them before.
Mm-hmm.
And then he quit there. And then later he was like, no, I still want to make guitars. So he started G&L. So the L in G&L is Leo Fender. Right. So this is very long. So these pickups are like something new that he designed later. He was like, well, because he was like a tinkerer kind of guy. He was like, I'm going to tinker with electronic circuits. That was his thing. He didn't actually even play guitar, I don't think. He just like was an electrician, like a really, really genius level electrician. So they just kind of have a different sound. Plus the electronic selection in there. They don't have a traditional tone knob on a guitar. There's usually this tone knob that rolls off frequencies in the signal. So you either basically, there's a potentiometer in there that limits the frequency signal that goes through. So you can, mostly everyone just leaves it wide open so you get the full thing. In a traditional guitar, you can roll that down and you kind of cut the high end out and you can kind of get some more mid and low frequencies. But this one has a bass and a treble circuit. So it like you can it kind of has like onboard equalization a little bit on it already. So you can kind of sculpt the sound a little bit better that way. That was kind of what I was interested in. Plus it looks really cool. So that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Right. That's the other thing, is that a lot of the other guitars I was looking at, I was like, well, it just doesn't, look cool. Like, or it just looks like, yep, 12,000 other people have that guitar.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean,
Nice.
and they don't, some of them don't sound what I was looking for. Like your traditional, like Stratocaster, that's not exactly the sound that I'm trying to go for. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to start with the guitar and then go from there. Because that's the terrible part about guitar playing. You get this sound stuck in your head, and then you just spend forever trying to get it. Right? That's the terrible part.
Is if you hear a guitar, and as with most instruments too, is it the guitar? Is it the amp that it's running through? Is it there's all these little steps in the chain sometimes that
so it's all of it. That's the problem, right?
Exactly. So if you're like, I want to create this sound from this, that I heard. Oh my gosh! Like you really want to go down a rabbit hole.
That's the problem. That's the big problem. So like, it's the the pedal, the amplifier. There's some people that are like, yo, it's the electric impedance that's in the cable.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, you need like a 50-foot cable for that to, happen, but to lose that much impedance and signal. But yeah, they kind of go nuts. And public service announcement time. Oh, any more questions about my new exciting guitar day other than hooray? Before you said you had more questions. I was going to give a PSA here.
Sure. No, it's fine. We hit hit the big ones. So you can do the PSA now.
Okay. So this is for any other listeners out there that are guitar shopping or know somebody that might be interested and are looking around on the internet for information about guitars. The internet guitar community is very full of snobbish gatekeepers. And I'd like to caution you to be aware of these people, right? Because these are people that have been playing guitar for like 45 years and are convinced that only original 1959 Stratocasters sound any good, right? This is kind of what happens, right?
Yeah.
People kind of get obsessed and they're like, no, you have to have like an original Fender amp, or you have to have this one Marshall made this 1 year because it's the best one. No, stop it. Okay. There's even young guys out there that are like, oh my gosh, this hand-built guitar built by this one guy in Nashville that cost me $4,600 is the best guitar I've ever. Like, yo, what? You're trying to tell people about a guitar on the internet and you're playing a guitar that costs $6,000. Shut up. Get out. Right? They're like, yo, this, like, some people on there, they're like, oh, like, even people that I like, you know, I like to watch, sometimes they go all crazy and they're like, oh yeah, this is my, you know, 2-rock amplifier. That sucker, that's the most expensive amplifier you're ever gonna find. And they're like, oh yeah, I really like it. Like, I would hope so. I would hope that $7,000 buys you something that you really like. Okay,
Right.
but that's not a realistic expectation to set for normal people that have like normal jobs and just do it as a hobby. Right? That's not like.
Oh my gosh.
I know that every community has these people. Right? Like any niche thing that you're into has these people, so you can relate to this. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. If you're into photography, if you're into this is also in the fountain pen community, in case you're curious. I have a small fountain pen collection, and some people online are like, yo, it's only this one certain type of nib or this one ink, like shh, stop.
Yeah. Or they say, they go, I traveled to Japan, hiked up a mountain where there's a monastery that makes one pin every 10 years, and I bought it. And this is the only one that you need to buy.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that, like, you know, rightly or wrongly, they'll all like poo-poo on import manufactured instruments, you know, like, oh, it was made in Indonesia. Oh, it wasn't built by one guy in a cabin in Montana. It's so like, come on. It's fine. It's okay. Like, a lot of these people, part of the problem is they have, especially with the import guitar thing, right? Like, import guitars, even as far recently as like the early 2000s, were hot trash.
Yeah.
Like barely played, right? Couldn't stay in tune to save their life. You know, like 8,000 pounds. Just really not good instruments. But the manufacturing has come so far, and there's so many really good factories out there that you can buy guitars for cheap that are really good, right? And there's a lot of people that do that, like professional musicians, like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. He plays that Telecaster. He bought that in a pawn shop for like no money, like a long time ago. And he's like, yep, this is my guitar now. I'm playing this. And that's it. It's the same one for like ever. So there's many schools of thought. There's these people that are all like, oh yes, this hand-wired amplifier is the only way to get any good sound. Like, no, that's, no, hold on. That's not right.
Well, and I don't know. We can, how long have we been recording here? Let's see if we can dive into a main topic. Yeah, sure. Whatever.
It's fine.
I really like this idea of gatekeepers because, as you said, every community has it. And the example that came to my mind was that of podcasting, of the people who go, well, how do I start out? And then immediately people respond with, here's my setup. And either two things happen. They either go, here's my setup, and it took me 10 years to learn. So just do this
it's
from the
like
beginning."
it's like
And
a
it's like-
professional studio.
Right. They don't have a dining room anymore because they built it into a studio and they invested $10,000 in audio equipment or whatever. Right. And they go, "This is how I podcast." And
Are those people online? They post those videos like how to make X thing and like,
yes,
so many minutes using tools around their house. But then it's like a picture of their workshop in their garage. Just like literally every tool ever made on a pegboard on the wall. And you're like, what in the world?
And so that mentality of being a gatekeeper by putting forward what you do as the best option, and I don't understand that, because I think what's more important is to help people understand what their favorite things are, right? Like why is it the immediate like, well, if you don't spend $5,000 on this, you're just trash and you need to go away. Like, why not say, look, it took me 10 years to get to what I use right now, but you can go down a path and you need to learn what you need, what you want, and how you want to sound, and figure and here's how you can help decide. And I think it's more important to know why you're using the things that you use or why you like the things that you like, as opposed to being spoon-fed something from somebody who has way more money than sense.
Yeah.
Telling you that this is what you need to do, this is what you need to buy. And if anybody tells you any different, they're ridiculous. And it's like, I cannot wrap my head around the mentality of keeping people out because they're not doing it your way or willing to do what you tell them. I don't know. It's just,
it's a weird, in the guitar community again, there's this weird, like there's kind of a joke that the people keeping the guitar industry alive are doctors and dentists. Right? There are these people that are just like hobbyists, and they don't play out. They don't play with anybody else. They might go to a jam night or they might play with their friend or whatever, but like they don't like play or record any music, and they have like thousands of dollars worth of stuff, like tens of $1,000s worth of gear. They just have it. It's like, I'm just going to get it. I just need to have it because I saw it online, so I need this pedal. Right. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with pedals. They're really cool. And if you want a very specific type of sound, that's a relatively inexpensive way to get it. Like if you want to change your setup drastically, buy a new pedal. Boom. Done. Way different. But like, I saw a thing the other day. I was watching this Q&A thing, and this one guy was like, yo, blah, blah, what do you think about this? And here's my pedal board. And I looked at that and went, you use all those? Like, it was like 15 pedals on this thing. And that's too many. like, there's no way you use all of those at once. Again, this is a home. I'm going to play at home. Whatever, man. Do whatever makes you happy. That's cool. But like, that's not really usable. Right? That's like you're not going to take that to your friend's house because that thing was enormous.
Yeah.
Like,
So I watched a thing that talked about people who started, the Let's Plays for games on YouTube, and there's
another one. Oh man,
that I watched that he had a podcast where he talked about it, and he's like, man, I like when I started YouTube, he talked about, it's like I worked like 2 jobs, and like it was YouTube was my 3rd job because I tried to get that off the ground, but like he's like, when I started, I had a cheap Walmart thing, and he's like, it's what you do, but a lot of people talk about how you do it. But he's like, I mean, if you have good content and you like enjoy what you do, is like you can make it. But he's like, I literally started with a $12 microphone and like a little like gaming camera. And he's like, that's all I had. I had like my brother's like PS 3, and I just kind of went from there. And now he's got like a insane setup. But he's like, for anyone that wants to start on YouTube, he's just like, for gaming wise, like just be relatable and like kind of all this stuff. But he's like, you don't need a $1,000 microphone. Like, it's going to make you sound cool and all the stuff. He's like, it's just people think they need to have that, but it's like as long as you have good content, and enjoy what you do. It's like it's a vastly different field.
Yeah, that's another big one. They're like, well, you don't have this thing, or you don't have that thing, or it's not as good as this. Like, yeah, no, maybe not, but it will be. Calm down. It's okay. I just got started, right?
Yeah.
It's like nobody learns to play. I mean, somebody probably does, but nobody learns to play guitar on like a 59 Les Paul, right? For those of you who don't know, that's like the holy grail gold standard that's been manufactured in people's minds of the 1959 Gibson Les Paul is the one. It's literally the best guitar that's ever been made in the history of the world. Right. Yeah. And part of that reason comes, in my opinion, this is opinion land. That reason comes from like those years of Les Paul guitars. People like back in the day, those used to be cheap. And they're like, well, this person played one. Like, yeah, because they bought it in a pawn shop for $200.
Right.
That was it. Because that's the only one that was there. And they played it. It doesn't really have to do any, like, for an example, like it doesn't matter that Jimmy Page played a Les Paul. It's the fact that he was Jimmy freaking Page, man. All right, the guy. Is,
they completely skip over the fact of who is playing it.
Yeah, like, this guy is a fantastically amazing musician. It is really, a guy could play a shovel, and it would be like, oh, that's the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. Look at that shovel, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It could be anything.
People, it is that tendency, and I mean, I get caught up in this too. I listen to somebody.
I mean, everybody does. Everybody has their own things.
Or whatever, and you go, oh, what are they using? What are they writing with?
Yeah.
How are they doing that? And you focus so much on the tools that you completely forget about the content, or again, whether it's actually the right thing for you. I mean, I have gone through so many productivity apps on my phone because somebody, so-and-so recommended it, or it was this person that uses it. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Well, if this person uses it, I'll try it. And I'm like, this is crap. Like this does not do what I want it to do. Instead of taking that time to think about, what do I want it to do? How do I want this to work? What will work in my workflow? What do I need from this? My tendency is to go, well, this person said that that's what they use, so that must be the best one. And it's like, ugh, like that is so hard to break because
it is hard. And I think we're all guilty of that, right? We all do that, no matter what the thing is or what subject area it's in. We all get caught up in that, like, oh, that thing's cool. I need to, that will help me do this.
And unfortunately, that lends more power to the gatekeepers, right?
Yeah, that means like, see, I told you.
Right. Or you talk about, or you have more and more exclusive things. More and more people look to you, right? It's just kind of this weird feedback loop of you can't. And it's hard to break out of that cycle of, okay, well, just go do your own thing, right? Just stop.
There's an interview with it's Joe Bonamassa. He's a very famous like blues guitar player, right? And he's like, this interview, he's like trashing. He's like, I don't know why people need, this or this amplifier or this pedal. You don't need pedals. You just turn your amp up really loud. Says the man playing like a vintage like 1959 Fender Bassman,
sure,
and like a 1960 Les Paul Custom, right? Like. Like, no, you don't need any of that stuff to sound like this. You just this is like a 50 watt amp. Nobody turns that amp up that loud anymore. Nobody. That doesn't happen because that will like explode your head. When you do that. So like, he's like, no, you just do this. It's fine. You just have to have this original 59 Bassman, and it's totally fine. I don't understand why you need all that stuff, right? Like, you sound like an idiot when you say that, right? Literally nobody can afford that. What are you talking about? And there's like 4 left. Not 4, but there's like not many out there. So the prices keep going up forever. That's the other argument too with guitars. Side note is they're like, oh, all guitars that were made in X year are good. Like, not really, because that was so long ago that all the bad ones are gone now. And like the 8 that are left might be good, but that's because those were the 8 that were good, and the rest of them were bad. And people didn't take the time to fix them or make them nice. They like you didn't think about that, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the other weird world that this dives into is of violins.
Oh, there's literally every world, right? I mean, tools, any instrument world. Yeah, specifically violins. Oh my goodness.
Well, like, what's the best violin? Oh, this Molitor Stradivari from 1697. That's the best one. Best violin. Like,
yeah.
What
is it?
I'm sorry. What? You're playing on something from 1697? Okay.
Yeah. Those are always crazy because they like X-ray them and like try to figure out what made them so good and all that stuff. Like,
right. And they were like, well,
all these crazy theories, like, well, actually, this is old growth wood, and the rings in it are so close together, and that makes the resonant frequencies different. You're like,
my favorite one was okay. Was like, actually, it's because it's moldy and it's the fungus that gives it the sound. Like, seriously,
so just leave your real expensive violin in the garage for a few months, and it'll sound better. Don't do that. Don't actually do that. People with violins, don't do that.
Saying, like,
do not recommend.
Because these things are approaching literally 500 years old, in some cases, it's just because they've got like fungus in them, and that's why they sound so pretty. And so
that's
what we're hearing today is not how it sounded. No, bleep Sherlock than it was when it was brand new. It's just because it's aged. It's like, okay,
that's the other thing too about guitars, like the wiring and stuff. That gets old and worse, right? So what that guitar sounds like now that you think sounds like super cool, right, that's not what it used to sound like. Yeah. Like when it was built, it didn't sound like that, right? There's all kinds of other weird guitar things. People like argue about what kind of wood a guitar is made out of, or does it even matter? And they're all there to talk about like the amplifiers, like, oh my, and they all like, you have to buy these really expensive tube amps because solid state transistor amplifiers are just no good. Again, in the 80s, that was true, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that true? No, it's fine.
So I guess the next step is advice for overcoming gatekeepers or sidestepping them or doing your own thing. What would you guys say to people struggling with that, or how you have done that?
It can be really hard. Like, we'll just stick with this guitar situation. Sorry, all the listeners that don't play any musical instrument and are really bored by this. But this is the only point of reference that I have currently, or the best one, because it's been on my mind lately. Like, normally, one of the best things to do is, like, try it for yourself, right? Go try something, Not just because the world is currently ending, but, like, sometimes it's not possible to do that. Like, it's not feasible, right? Like, if I can't just go, like, I live very far away from any music stores. You know what I mean? So, like, I can't just go try it out, You know what I mean? Or, like, if you want to go try this thing, like, maybe you can't find it, or you can't find something like it, or you're curious about something and you just have no access to it. So you kind of have to rely on the internet a little bit to try to figure out if that's a thing that you would want. But you have to remember that, like, the stuff they're using online, it's not stuff that you have, right? Or it's not similar to what you have. You have to try to in your mind, like, think about all the variables that are different between your situation and the situation of the person on the internet talking about this thing or showing you this thing, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a guitar. It could be a pen. Right? Like, oh, does this person, what is their background? What do they know about this? Or, what are they using this for? Do they have, are they using this in a situation similar to what I would like to use this for? You know what I mean? So it's hard. And again, with guitars, it's really hard because you hear it on, like, line. It's like, oh, that sounds really cool. But maybe when you get it, it sounds like trash because they were playing that guitar through, like, a, $5,000 amplifier, and you just have another one. It's not necessarily worse. It's just different, right? Because if you have a different brand of amp or whatever, it's going to sound different they sound different from each other. That's why people buy them. Like, one sounds different from another one. They have their own special character. So, like, if they're playing through this one, but you have this other one, it's going to sound different. You just kind of have to take into account these variables and be like, break it down. What do I have to do? Why is it different? And thinking about what you're actually trying to achieve. Like with my guitar, I had a very specific set of criteria. Like, I need a sound that will cut through a very mid and bass heavy band mix.
Yeah.
Right? A very narrow criteria.
Yeah.
Like, I need this because the other guy, he plays this old guitar and it's just really thumpy and very driving and very like bass heavy. And then a bass player and a keyboard. So all these mid-range and low frequencies are covered. You can't put anything up. There's no sonic space for anything else in there. So I need something that will cut above that and help go through. And that combined with this amp I have one of these, I have this Vox amp, and they're known for being very top end, chimey and cutty, right? They have some other characters, but they're also known for being it's like the amp that early Beatles albums recorded on. Think about that sound, that kind of like really bright, jangly, kind of like gritty sound on the little bit later ones. That's what this thing is kind of like that. So, plus I got a really good deal on it. Let's not lie. Sometimes that's it too. That's the other big point for me, really, when I think about it. Because again, I'm a teacher and I don't have any money. So you got to think about cost benefit too. Like, how much is it actually worth to me to do this? You know, when you have people being like, oh, this thing is great and it costs this much money. I'm like, nope, not that great. Sorry, can't. I'm out. Not interested in that. Bye.
Right. Like, sweet. Not for me anymore. Bye.
Yeah, it's good for you. Bye. I need to think a little bit different. So
sure.
That's the kind of a hard thing. You got to think about your situation and what you need, and then how does it line up with the other stuff? Damn. That's my thoughts. I don't know. What about you guys? What do you think about that?
Yeah, Airman?
I was so entwined with what Brandon was saying. What was the question again?
How do you combat gatekeepers in your niche hobbies you like? How do you get around that? How do you go? How do you kind of dissect the bull hooey?
Well, so what kind of Brandon was talking about was, I just kind of I was like, oh, that's really good, and then I kind of forgot the overtone.
Sure. Stop sucking up. Just
so for kind of the stuff that what I was talking about, like with, I mean, it's kind of hard for like things with like history, because everyone, like especially on YouTube, that claim to be an expert on something, they're like, no, this is how this was, or no, this is how this was. For something like that, it's basically, do as much research on your own. But stuff was like, with video games or like YouTube stuff, I always thought doing like gaming on YouTube would be interesting. However, whenever I play video games, I am not interesting, like at all. But for someone who wanted to start that, and because I know when the big Fortnite boom occurred, there was a lot of people or a lot of kids at a really young age that were like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber and I want to do Fortnite, and Ninja has all this stuff, and I want, and so it kind of
like no platform. Whoops.
Yeah, it goes back to like if you enjoy, like, don't get into something just because someone else is doing it, or just the fact that that one thing that the one person is playing. It's like, oh, I could totally do that too. For me, I play games, number one, as a stress reliever. Number two, I'm a child at heart. And number three, just because it's fun and I enjoy it. And so having something that you truly enjoy, and just, kind of something that blocks you out, do your, own thing. And then, if it's something that you want to take the next level in a quote unquote professional sense, like just, do what you can afford, and then just kind of build it from there. And that's how a lot of YouTubers start. And like I said, that one guy was like, I had a $12 microphone, and that's all I had. And then he just kind of build up from there. But there's some people that are like, I've watched, that are like, yeah, I still have the same equipment I've had 5 years ago, just because, like, if I make money from this, awesome. If I don't, meh, whatever. Like, I'm just doing it, just because I'm not a caricature, but like, people think I'm funny, so I just got to put that online and just have at it. So, and that's how people start on YouTube is, if I make money, awesome, but I just kind of want to share my joy in what I do and what I'm doing, with, what at the time was like, 5 followers, and then just kind of build from there. So, I mean, if you want to get on like I know getting on Twitch is super easy, and a lot of people just go to that. But just do with what you have, do with what the time frame. But if it's something that you want to do, you're going to have to invest a lot of time, and you are going to invest a lot of money. But having those people that's in your way, it's like, oh, you need to do this, or oh, I have a $1,200 gaming system. It's like, no, just like use your laptop, see if that works, and then just build from there.
Yeah, no, both of you guys touched on the fact of understanding why you're doing it. And, the world of, I just have two examples of podcasting is huge. Like I mentioned earlier, that question of what mic should I get? That is fraught with many, many decisions. And the number of people who immediately respond with
that's true,
with a $1,500 microphone, and they go,
"This is Neumann, right? That's what you got to
right,
get."
Exactly, right. That's exactly someone who goes, "I'm 15. I'm starting out. What's the best microphone?" And they go, "Boom! Here's this $1,500 microphone." And you're like, "Ooh."
With that Shure SM37, that big old thing. That
sure. Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly. That $500 sucker. You need that one.
Where you go, okay. Actually, you're asking, and part of this, and both of you touched on this too, is educating yourself on a lot, right? Just trying to consume as much information as possible for me is always the first step. What do I actually need to care about? And for podcasting, it's really what microphone is going to be best for my voice, and then under that, which one's going to fit in my budget, and which one's going to fit in my room, right? So those are the three things that I took away from whenever I started looking into that, right? Of going, what's my hierarchy? But I only got to that point after doing a lot of reading and taking people's comments and recommendations and kind of putting them off to the side and going, okay, I need to figure out what are the qualities that I actually need to be concerned about instead of asking about specific tools.
That's true too.
Right. And it's just so you know the best questions to ask, because that way you can kind of cut through some of that BS whenever you have the good questions. And then for the next example that is slightly different is we are looking into the world of electric toothbrushes, and this is quite an adventure for us because my priorities are none of the priorities that are of any of the reviews or any of the people saying which one is or which one isn't the best, right? I'm going to potentially have 4 of these in a somewhat small bathroom. So my actually biggest concern, turns out, is noise, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be a cacophony of terror.
And where do you store all of them to charge them? How does that look? Do you have counter space available still?
Yes. So all of a sudden I'm going, okay, well, I actually care about in this order, noise level and storage capacity. And you know what? Nobody talks about that in a review. They may mention noise sometimes, but it's in but nobody really cares about this, and it's really not that different. And I'm going, no, tell me literally everything.
I need to know.
This. And so to me, the gatekeepers there are the reviews saying, they're talking about durability, they're talking about battery life, they're talking about all, whether it has a travel case. And again, I did a ton of research to just learn all I could about the spectrum of electric toothbrushes to decide, actually, for me and my family, it's going to be volume and counter space are the two things that I'm most concerned about here. So that, to me, again, helps cut through the gatekeepers who are sitting there going, no, unless you spend $300 on an Oral-B IQ or whatever, you're not getting the best brush possible.
That's true.
Going, okay, well, that's neat. How quiet is it? And they look
that's
at you
true.
and they go, huh? What? And you go, okay,
no, this is important.
It does. Yeah, if I can meet my needs of quiet by spending $50, I'm actually going to go that route. Turns out, right? That's what my top priority is. So I'm going to seek out what I can for that.
It's a good one. I think another interesting thing that I think people need to think about for everything except toothbrushes is think about looking for like not brand new things.
Sure.
Right? Look for used stuff. Again, not for toothbrushes. Don't do that. You know, for like guitars or for microphones, I bought my microphone used because I didn't know if I would like it. I bought it used. I got a way good deal on it because it was way cheap. So like yeah, it might be fine new, but I didn't know the answer to that, so I bought a used one. Guitars are another thing. It's good to buy a used one, like your first one, if you're interested in like trying it out, or even if you're changing body styles or you want a different kind. Look at the used ones, because like maybe you would like to try a Telecaster, for example, but you don't know if you know that's the kind of thing you actually want, you know, because everything sounds cool in the store, but like living with it is another situation, right? Like, how is it to deal with all the time with your stuff or your other gear or your sound, right? So, like, get a used one and play it for a while. And if you like it, then think about, okay, what's the next step from this, right? Because that would be my thing with an electric toothbrush. I don't even know if I would like having an electric toothbrush. Right. So my personal first step would be buy a lower tier electric toothbrush and see if I even can deal with electrified teeth brushing. Right. Mm-hmm. That's what I need. That would be my first step. Like, is this even something I want to pursue? Is that even something I'm interested in? Right. Do I even like that? I don't know. Right. So I would buy like a cheaper one and see how it goes for, 6 months to a year. And then think about going up to the next, okay, I'm going to stick with this. I like it. Now what? Now where do I go? Right.
Especially if you're brand new to something, because if you don't have any experience with anything, you may, so again, the microphone, someone may recommend you a $1,000 one and you get it. Well, actually, with your preamp, it doesn't work out, or you actually don't like the way your voice sounds on it, or you don't like its shape, or it's not travel ready, or it's not, it's too heavy for your boom arm, or this, or that. Like, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Like, I could have worked up to this and actually found out that $100 whatever would have been a lot better.
I need something different. Yeah,
I need something, right? and knowing that that's okay. And I think at the end of the day, when you take everything that we've been talking about, it's. You have to fundamentally be okay with your decisions, and I think the best way to do that is to do the work, right? To put in some research, to experiment.
And so some of that research, unfortunately, does involve spending a little bit of money and being hands-on about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
in most instances. Yeah.
Do I need to try this thing first? Right? Because like the guitar I bought today, like this is the, it's not like the big high dollar one. They make a handmade, custom shop, made in California version. I don't need that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? That doesn't suit my needs. I don't need that. That's not what I'm buying. Right. That's not what I'm buying it for.
Right.
I don't need to buy that one. I need this one, suits my needs much better. So I got this one instead. But there's other tiers. There's usually tiers of things, right? That you can do, even in anything else. In the fountain pen world, right, things come in tiers. You can buy pens anywhere, I'm not joking, anywhere in the price range of like $5 to $10,000. Okay?
Oh.
You'd like to think that I'm joking. No, I'm not.
For a pen.
You can buy a hand-lacquered Urushi fountain pen from Japan for $10,000. And the other thing you have to think about is your own personal cost benefit. Like, is that really that much better? Like, how much better is that than like these other ones? Like, is it probably a little better? Yeah. Is it $10,000 worth of better? No, I don't think so. You're paying a lot for that, like the hand designed labor, right?
Right.
But like, disregarding that big outlier, like there's even again with guitars, if you pay $500 for a guitar and you pay $1,000 for another guitar, the actual difference in those two instruments is not just super enormous. Right. A lot of times, right? So if you're a newer guy or girl that's kind of getting into it and want to know, like, that $1,000 one is not, twice as good as the $500 one.
Nope.
It's only a little bit more good.
Yeah.
So go with the less one, right? See if you even like it.
Mm-hmm.
maybe you like it. And then what you do is you buy the one guitar. This is the best part about guitars, right? You buy one, you have it for a while, you figure out all the stuff you don't like about it. The next one you buy doesn't have that stuff on it.
Right.
That's the
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, again, you're learning.
That's the
and you're putting.
You've learned all the things that you don't like, and so the next one you have doesn't have that on it. Like that's what.
And you don't know what you don't know, and knowing. And part of that is knowing that people are going to tell you that you made the wrong decision, and those are the gatekeepers that are trying to keep people out or keep people in a little corner, keep them
or trying to sell you something. To be real, that's a third category.
Let's be real, right? Oh, yeah. But you can overcoming that, being comfortable with your decision through that work. Like it does take some work, it does take some research, it does take some hands-on, it does take some experimenting. But when the gatekeepers come out and try and naysay you and your decisions, you can go, look, this is what I've done, and I'm okay with this. This is what I need. And they're still going to flap their feathers and get all ruffled and walk away huffy and puffy about it. But so,
yeah, right? I mean, man, I tell you what, right now, guitarists are the worst about this. Right? Anybody out there listening, if you play guitar, I'm not targeting you. I promise, because I'm right there with you. I know. I've said some things before and then later gone, why did I say that? That was so. Right? Especially internet guitarists, they're the worst. They're just some of the things they say, you're like, what? What are you talking about? There can be such a high level of just like, oh, you have to, it has to be like this because that's what I like. Right? Doesn't actually mean it's good. Which means it's what you like and what suits your needs, but that doesn't suit my needs, right? Because we might be using even a guitar for two completely different things, or styles of music or whatever, and whatever you say is good for you, that doesn't mean it's going to be helpful for me, right? I'm not going to play speed metal, so I don't really need to hear you playing speed metal riffs on this guitar demo, because that does not help me at all. So
right.
Stop it.
This does not influence my decision making one bit.
Yeah, that doesn't help me because I'm not going to watch your video because I can't. That's not what I'm going to be using it for. So next, right? It doesn't help me.
Oh well, I think we've helped a lot of people today.
There we go.
Good.
Hopefully at least one. So there we go.
There you go. Makes it all good. Oh man. Well, good stuff, guys.
I like it.
Anything else before we go?
I don't know. Oh, I would like to mention something.
Okay.
I was thinking about this. I think, just briefly, we would like to recognize the passing of a local legendary individual from Southwest Missouri, specifically Springfield. Did you guys see that thing I sent you the other day? Like a week ago, Mr. David Leong has passed away at age 99.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wing Yin Leong, also known as David, passed away to about, I don't know, a week and a half ago or so. The reason this is important for our listeners who are not from Springfield, Missouri, and are going, what are you talking about? This man is responsible for the invention of Springfield-style cashew chicken. And I don't really know of very many other dishes that you eat on a regular basis that you can go, that person invented this. Right? I can't really put my finger on that. All? Really? So I think this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Not just because I happen to have a just unhealthy love for Springfield Styles cashew chicken. Okay. But yeah, I think it's just really cool that this food dish like has a name. The story is super interesting, right? He's like he was a really cool person. I never met him personally, but no. I've never heard of anybody being like saying anything negative about him at all. Right. So a little backstory, just briefly. His family immigrated to the U.S. in the 1940s to Springfield for reasons that I don't really know. The interview didn't say with his son, but they were the only Asian family in Springfield at that time. The only one. He was a World War II vet. I did not know that. This is new information for me. World War II vet, landed at Normandy Beach on D-Day. Okay. He was a cook in the army because basically they said, we need someone who can cook. And he raised his hand and they said, all right, you got the job. And the interview with his son said he cooked so good that the officers ate it and were like, no, you're going to be our cook now. So they stole him from the men because he was so good at his job. They would like joke that this was the best food they ever had ever. Sorry, Mom, but this guy's food is better. So yeah, he came back to Springfield, started a restaurant, wanted to kind of like, since there were no other Asian population in the area to eat a Asian restaurant, he sort of like invented a new food that people would like. And he invented Springfield cashew chicken. Boom, with the gravy and the cashews and the onions and the rice. Boom, that was it. He was basically like, people like fried chicken. How about this? Wham. And the coolest part of this story is that other restaurants, it became like so popular that other restaurants would start to make it. And people would come to his restaurant and say, oh, I ate it over there, but it was terrible. So he would go over there and show them how to do it right.
Yeah.
So that
his invention could be enjoyed.
Yeah, could be enjoyed by everybody. It didn't get a bad name. So as long as you know where it came from, that's cool with me. I'm good. So whatever. And he would just go there. So he was like a super great guy, apparently. Sadly, he passed away at age 99.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is insane.
So
and he was well known for, going every day to his restaurant. And
he had Leong's Asian Diner, right? In Springfield.
In Springfield. And spending the time there. I can say it was summer last year. I ate Springfield style cashew chicken with Mr. Leong at the bar.
Did you really?
And I said, hi.
Oh, there we go.
I said hi. And
Wow.
He waved, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
He was busy doing other things. Eating cashew chicken, as it turned out.
Hey, that's important business, ladies and gentlemen.
It was. You mentioned how often do you get to have something that's honestly played a pretty big role, and I enjoy eating it very, very much. Throughout my entire life so far, and it's like
literally my favorite food. it's up there.
Love cashew chicken. To be able to say this person from where I grew up with this amazing backstory. Who was a big prominent figure. Yeah, it is very, it's very close to home. It's also very, it makes you proud a little bit to go, yeah, like this is, because he was such a great guy, right? That too, like that just,
that's the part that was cool. Like everybody, like he used to travel all over the world, it's kind of his hobby. He would go traveling and people that he would meet, he would just be like, yeah, anytime you come to Springfield, you come to my restaurant and I'll give you some food and we'll say hi. We'll catch up. And his son said every once in a while, someone would just show up and be like, yeah, I met your dad in Germany or I met your dad in France or I met your dad in Singapore or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they would come by and see him again and talk to him, hang out and eat. It was like, what? That's so awesome. Like that.
Yeah. That's quite the life, right? That's
really cool.
Talk about impact. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, I can't put, again, maybe this is just my ignorance in some levels, but there's not many dishes that I can put names to. Right. That I can go, that is the person. A lot of these things just come to us from, somewhere, right? We have them, but we don't have like a name. And I think the fact that we have a name to go with this dish that is served all over the state of Missouri, served all over the country, right?
Yeah.
And other parts of the world, right? His son said that they were in China one time and I walked by a store and they had a sign that said Springfield style cashew chicken served here.
What?
In the interview, right? And the interview was great because he was like, "Hey, Dad, you want to go in there and eat?" And his dad goes, Mr. Leon goes, "No, I know what it tastes like. It's fine."
So that's good.
That's good. I mean, that makes sense. You made it. You invented it. So it's really cool. I just want to mention that because I thought it would be a good thing to talk about here.
Yeah.
Just to bring some light on this guy who is really cool and affected so many people, even if like indirectly, right? It's a really cool guy. And just really neat. And again, one of my favorite foods ever. So
no, it is a very neat story, and it is sad to hear about his passing, but knowing again that the impact was so huge across on a lot of people. So yep, I'll include some links to that, some interviews in the show notes about him. And if anybody is here or going to Springfield, definitely check out his restaurant.
Definitely. Good stuff. Because I've eaten there before, but it's been a long time, but he was not there. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of like a hard like fan moment for a little bit there where I walked in. I was like, guys, oh my gosh, guys, he's here. I was there with my coworkers. And they were just like, they just walked in. And I was like, guys, Jenna, who's at the bar? Oh my God. And they were like, what are you talking about? Like, David, that's the guy. That's him.
World famous.
Totally.
David Leong. Here we go.
Wow.
Even if you didn't know, listeners, some listeners out there may have eaten that before. Now you know. Now you know the story of where it came from. You're welcome. Go eat some more because it's the best. It's my favorite.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing next time. I down at Dad's. Oh my God. Okay. Cool. That is thanks for rounding us out there with that.
Welcome.
That's good. Okay. Well. God, and you're making fun of me. Colin's going to have a long episode. Hour and 36 minutes.
On your calendar thing that you tried to be all official with, you sent me the link. It was scheduled for like 2.5 hours. I was like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
No, sorry.
I got scared. And then I wanted to joke with you. I figured you just pushed a random button, so it's fine.
I did indeed push a random button. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Anyway, cool. Well, you guys, let's close out. I'll edit it. Let's close this out. I want to stay on the line for just a minute. So, all right. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too.
Love you too.